everybody. Thank you, everybody. I'm going to make this really quick, my introduction, just because we are running just 2 minutes behind, but I want to make sure that Padma has time to present. My name is Aida Salazar. I'm a member of a collective of kidlit authors called Story Sunbirds, who came together after October 7th to commiserate and to be in connection over the tragedies that we were witnessing. And we are answering a call to action by poet Musab Abu Toha, who wanted to commemorate the 1-year anniversary of the children standing in front of the Al-Shifa hospital in Palestine, pleading for health and safety and shelter and food and the end to the war. And so our call to action is to do this all day read aloud, and we are raising money for the Middle East Children's Alliance. And if you have $5, $10, $1,000 that you want to donate to the Middle East Children's Project, please do. Look at the chat. That's where we're going to be having all of the links. And with each donation, if you send us receipt of your donation, you will be entered into a giveaway, because people are offering books. All of the authors and illustrators here have donated books, and you will enter your chance to win one of these signed books. So send us your receipt. All of that information is going to be in the chat. And without further ado, I'd like to welcome yet another dear friend, one of the most amazing, loving, fierce, just intelligent, like wonderful people on the planet, my dear friend Padma Venkatraman, whose book changed my life. I love The Bridge Home is one of the most amazing books, and it deserves so many more awards than it did. It got a bunch, but like it deserved all of the awards. And just really a true master of the craft. Padma, take it away.
Thank you so much. I want to thank everyone who is taking action today. And I want to, of course, especially thank Aida, who everything she said about me, I could say tenfold about her and her work. And of course, a deep gratitude to the Story Sunbirds for organizing everything today. So what I did was I wrote something for you so that I wouldn't ramble on and on, because I know I only have 15 minutes. And I would like to begin by sharing a resource with you. It's called Diverse Verse. It's diverseverse.com or diverseverse.org. And whether you are a young person interested in poetry or an adult, especially a teacher or a librarian, we have resources there. And fairly recently on our blog, we put up a list of resources that uplift Palestinian poets and Palestinian poetry speaking about the horrific genocidal violence that is still ongoing in that part of the world. There are also lots of other resources, so I hope that you will visit that website. I am the author of many books. I'm the author of The Bridge Home and Safe Harbor. And today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about why I'm here. And I think I'm here in part because of home, which should be a safe space for every child on the planet. And in the world in which we live, unfortunately, that is not the case. And the fact that children are being forced out of their homes in Gaza and worse happening to them is just unconscionable, right? And Safe Harbor, my newest book, is about safe harbors. And again, home and the country you live in should be a safe harbor for every child. That should be just a given, that should be taken for granted. That should not be something we have to fight for, and yet it is. And so I think that is part of why I'm here. And there's something else that, caught my attention that I wanted to raise with you. There was this beautiful interview that was about the title of the interview on Electric Lit was The Role of Literature in Fighting Genocide. And in that interview, in which Palestinian poets Farah and Fadil and Worthington and Abdul Hadi speak, they quote Inaz Sharif, who said at a talk hosted by Washington University, "Poetry is not an exercise in aesthetic pleasure. It is an opportunity to name, diagnose, and draw attention to actual violences that are occurring." What I would like to do is to honor a voice in poetry, in Palestinian poetry, by reading just a short excerpt, because I also want to be very conscious of copyright issues. This particular poem is in the public domain, and I will only be reading a short excerpt from that, but I think it's very powerful. And the poem is by Rashid Hussein, who was a Palestinian poet, journalist, educator, and Hebrew Arabic translator. He has 3 known books of poetry to his name: At Dawn, that is the translation, in 1957, and I'm the Earth, Don't Deny Me the Rain in 1976. And he is considered by many to be the father of modern Palestinian poetry. The poem of which I'm going to read an excerpt was translated by Salma Harland, who is a British Egyptian literary translator. And with that, I will begin that short excerpt. I'm tired of empty words, O Gaza. I'm tired. Raging fires before me, the sea behind me. I go toward the fire and I drink from the flames. I'm tired. My skin, my bone, my mind ablaze, and the fire drinks from my eyes. Deep breath. And I'm going to move on then to saying this, which is very, very hard to do. When we think of terrible and terrifying things, it is hard for us sometimes to speak out because we have no words. Sometimes I feel I have no words for the violence against children that is happening all over the world, including where I am in this country that I live in, right? And yet, words are the most defining part of my soul, and that's why I'm offering them to you today. As I have in the past few months, for over a year, standing at street corners to cry out, writing to senators to defy misusing our money to murder innocent children, and murmuring prayers on restless nights when I lie sleepless, hoping someone is out there hearing my pleas, holding on to my belief in the power of light, even as I wonder how such horror can occur if there is an Almighty, and yet I hope. And so I would like to read you 2 poems about hope that I wrote. One of them is in the shape of a tree, and it's called Whenever You See a Tree. And it was published in Poetry Magazine in the March 2021 issue. Whenever you see a tree, think how many long years this tree waited as a seed for an animal or bird or wind or rain to maybe carry it to maybe the right spot where it again waited months for seasons to change until time and temperature were fine enough to coax it to swell and burst its hard shell so it could send slender roots to clutch at grains of soil and let tender shoots reach toward the sun. Think how many decades or centuries it thickened and climbed and grew taller and deeper, never knowing if it would find enough water or light, or when conditions would be right, so it could keep on spreading leaves, adding blossoms, and dancing. Next time you see a tree, think how much hope it holds. And now for another poem, Undone, which was also published in Poetry Magazine in that same issue, March 2021, where you will find the poems of many other wonderful kidlit authors. So do check out that issue. This poem is about silence and the importance of doing our best not to be silent at times when we can be afraid. It's called Undone. They ignored the new boy, snickering behind his back. In silence, I stayed safe, my lips pressed together. Growing bolder, they pierced him with arrow-sharp words. I pretended I hadn't heard. They twisted his arms. One word escaped his lips before they dragged him out of sight, out of earshot. Cowards! I ran away. All the words I did not say haunt me every single day. And finally, I would like to share with you a poem to leave you in a place that is a little more uplifted, to bring us back to hope and to end on that note of hope. It's a poem from my upcoming novel, Safe Harbor, which is already actually on pre-order. And it's about a little girl who goes from India and moves all the way from India to the United States because of something difficult in her family. And she, as you can see, has a little flute over there. She loves playing the flute. She finds a wonderful friend called Miguel, who at one point I had named him Aida, and then we switched things and he became Miguel. So Aida, that character is in your honor. And they both end up finding a seal that has been hurt on the beach in Rhode Island, where I live, and they rescue it. But this poem is at the very beginning of the book, and it's called 3 Years Before We Moved Across Oceans. 3 years before we moved across oceans, my mother said she and my father grew apart, as if they were two branches on the same tree, bending in different directions. Truth, angry storms blew apart my family tree. That's why only Amma and I flew to America. Appa stayed behind in India. Now that the two of us are so far away from him, I should stop imagining my parents will somehow get back together. But I guess hope is a cork that never stops bobbing on the waves of life's ocean. So I would like to leave you with that and with a quote from my novel Born Behind Bars, in which one of the characters says, "Fear is a lock, courage is a key." And I hope that in whatever way, large or small, we can all have courage as we move forward in this world so that we can unlock those places that are difficult for us and help to make this world a kinder place, a place that is filled with greater compassion, with empathy, with hope, and most of all, with love. I'm sending love out to each of you watching here today, sending love out into the world. And as Aida said, if there's anything that you can give to these wonderful causes, please, please do whatever you can, time or money or even a little bit, because every little bit absolutely does help. So I'll end there and say namaskaram, which is the traditional word that we use in Sanskrit. I bow to the divine light in each of you. Thank you.
Oh, wow. See, I told you all, this is a master at work. Thank you so much. Every selection, every piece of poetry that you read is just gorgeous. Thank you, Padma, so much for your literary talent, for your heart. Let's see, we have like 2 minutes if anybody would like to ask a question. Let's see, you did good time.
I know, I thought I cut it a little bit short because you said you were running behind, and I thought, okay, I'll cut out a little bit so that we can make sure that we're on time. And I was watching the clock over there.
Yeah, oh, that's so good. Yes. Well, if nobody has a question, I will ask this. When is Safe Harbor coming out? I can't wait.
Gosh. Yeah, it's coming out January 21st.
Oh my
So
goodness.
I know it's on pre-order already. I love it so much. It's, yeah.
I love the cover. It's so sweet.
I know. It's so happy and
yeah.
uplifting, and yeah.
Well, thank you again. Padma, if you can, Bob, will you put your information, how do people could get in touch with you on at the Diverse Verse, of course, information in the chat, please, so people can.
I will definitely do that. Yeah, and my website is probably the easiest way to get to me, but you'll have to correctly spell my name, Padma Venkatraman, and do www.padmavenkatraman.com. I am still occasionally on social media. On X, you can find me at Padma TV, and on Instagram, it's at venkatraman.padma. So you have to spell all of that correctly, but I will put all of that in the chat as well. Thank you.
Okay, love. Thank you so much. Okay. All right. So now it's